Turn your cameras off. Cool. Okay. Thanks, guys. 1 second. With most things, this got a bit out of hand, and I spent quite a long time on it, but I wanted to show how much I appreciated it. Can you all see the screen? I can see Alice and Val, so can you give me a thumbs up, either of you? Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm going to try and get through all of this. I've just written a few notes to say thank you, all of you, for what you've done for me. I wanted to make an effort to show how much I appreciate it. I would not be where I am without this group. If you're new to the Zoom groups, I hope it will show you how valuable, positive, and effective this group can be. Equally, if you want to log off now, please do. No offense will be taken. And it's probably going to be a bit cringe, but I read the other day, if you're not being cringe, you're doing something wrong. So I'm going to go for that. And I'm going to talk about myself in the third person, as that may help me remove myself from the story so I can get through it without throwing a wobbly. Or that's at least what I hope. By the sounds of my voice, it's not sounding very likely. So without further ado, here's a little story I've made. Um, we meet George happily working away in London. He's never been completely health normal, but is an avid runner and hard worker who hates being on his own. Then in early 2020, George gets sick. He has a few things that set off his immune system, and it leaves him scared and alone. Terrified of the new symptoms, he's not getting the help he needs. Things continue to get worse for George. He's losing weight rapidly, and the symptoms are growing in number. He's becoming more terrified and more isolate. He cannot find the right person to help him, and he feels no one understands what he's going through. Is at this point he is sucked completely out of normal life and placed on a small planet off Earth, totally on his own. Hope is hard to come by, and he is feeling at the lowest point of his life. He can see life happening on planet Earth, but he cannot join in. As this tiny planet is in space, it is up by the mobile phone satellites, so George gets great signal and can talk to his friends and family back on Earth. They try their absolute best to help him and are amazing, but they just can't understand what life is like stuck on his planet. Trying to describe it can be really tricky for George. Then, while George is at his lowest, a rocket appears in the sky. It lands on the planet and a man appears. This man's name is Dr. Mehdi, a great human. He looks past all the things that other doctors had seen as barriers, and although George is really broken, he listens to all that he says and gives him the best help George could possibly have hoped for. He told George that what was happening to him was real, however strange and odd it sounded, and gave him so much hope for the future. A patch of light appears on the planet, and George thinks to himself, I will be grateful to this man for the rest of my life. Aside from that, though, George does not have anyone that really understands what life is like on his planet. And sometimes he feels himself getting closer back to Earth, only to wake up one morning and be on the edge of the solar system, back to square one. His new peer is fantastic, but his life is still very lonely. Then one day on a whim, George decides to throw out some messages into space and see if he can find any others trapped on their own planet. Much to George's amazement, a few days later a rocket arrives, this time with two lovely women on it, Kay and Claire. George's life is about to change more than he could ever have known. It turns out Kay and Claire had also been stuck on their own planet, stuck away from normal life, and embarrassed about talking about what life is like on these planets. They know what it is like to be George. While they all live different experiences, it was all in the same ecosystem, so they all make decisions to share their planets with each other. These are two of the most pivotal people in George's life. Life is starting to become much less lonely. More light is starting to appear on the planet, and for the first time, George feels like getting back to Earth may be possible. He is so unbelievably grateful for his two new friends, without whom he may have given up hope completely. Now he just needs to work out how to build a rocket, but right now he's not that worried about that. He's just not alone. Shortly after this, another rocket arrives. This time it is a purple and orange. It's purple and orange with another woman on board. This lady's name is Joy. George and Joy immediately hit it off. It turns out Joy has been connecting people stuck on these planets for many years. She and her family were transported to one a while back, and while she deals with so much, she still spends her time doing fantastic work and helping so many. Joy asks if the three friends will help her out and hopefully help themselves in return by taking their group onto Mast Cell Action's network. Although nervous, George, Kay, and Claire take the leap. Little do they know what they have to come. Sorry. While the message is being spread, George's life is now inconceivably better than it was. The Earth is feeling closer than it has for many years. He's finding it much easier to talk to his friends and family back on Earth, as he does not have to need to explain to them, as he has people that completely understand. Within 2 weeks of Joy's arrival, many rockets of varying colors arrive on the planet. 32 in the first week, to be exact. And Michaela was our first rocket, all from people who have been stranded on their own planets. An immediate bond is formed, a bond forged out of the irony that the thing that binds all of these people together is the fact that they thought they were alone. That and many other horrible symptoms that they all deal with. It would be impossible to name all those that arrive on the planet. So here's a selection of some randomly selected names. Michaela, the intrepid explorer. Val, the brave and positive long hauler. Alice, the creative outlet. Becky, the resident potty mouth and possibly the strongest person in the world. Lorna, our resident playwright. Yasmin, the courageous and unique chef. Sars, the lion-hearted nature collection. Elle, the heroic university student. Sarah, the positive inspiration. Chris, the hope-filling scientist, Karen, the inspiring relaxation guru, and Jenny, the very generous new member. This is only a few of the names. Well over 500 people arrive on the planet. Even Craig Revel Horwood pays a quick visit. A group is quickly formed and cemented. It is the highlight of George's life. Seeing people be able to start talking to the group and not need to explain what they mean is such a joy. And they can all share tips and tricks on how they navigate life on a deserted planet. George now looks out on his planet, full of fellow space travelers, feeling he could happily join life and not even need to talk about his time stuck on his own. As normal muggles would not understand it anyway. There was a time that all he could think about was illness. That time is now past. He feels closer to Earth than ever before. One day, his peers tell George that they have a present for him. Full of excitement, George walks out to see a large box with a huge bow on it. He rips off the wrapping, and George's newfound peers have all spared bits of their own ships to build him a rocket back to Earth, painted in bright pink, of course. George knows the gift these people have given to him, he will keep for the rest of his life. They gave George his route back to Earth. George can now set off into the future, his life back in color. And while it's a long way back to Earth and there will be ups and downs, he can finally set off as he knows that he will make it. It's just a matter of time. Last bit, I promise. Thank you all so much for what you have done for me. I will never forget it. This year of running the groups has been the best thing I've ever done. I'm so excited for Alice, Kay, Lydia, and many more to take the group forward under the careful stewardship of the fantastic Charisse. I cannot think of a better person to run the group. I know you will do a fantastic job. And I'm so pleased to see so many of our new members doing a bit better. And even those that are still struggling, it is so amazing that you turn up every day. It is down to all of your efforts, and I hope you're all very proud. I've tried not to give advice as much as possible, though I know I have failed on many occasions. However, I wanted to share these two things. Firstly, the best piece of advice I've received is on rough days, break it down. Take things 1 hour at a time, and if that's too long, take it 1 minute at a time. Or in the worst days, even seconds at a time. And secondly, I listen to Proud by Tina Turner every morning. Firstly, because it's a certified banger, and secondly, because I try to think to myself, if all I do today is get through today, I can be proud of that. Keep fighting. The further we go, the closer we are to recovery, and I fully believe MCAS is recovery is a certainty. I'm 100% sure we will make it back to planet Earth. I've learned so much from each and every one of you. Best of luck to you all, and I'm sure I will come back and visit in the future. Thank you all so much for what you've done for me. Thank you, guys. Sorry, I didn't realize how long that was going to be, but I just thank you so much. I hope you all know what you've done, and yeah, I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you did for me earlier on. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I think it's been such an emotional session and so horrible, but so amazing to hear that everybody's had similar stories. Yeah, this is definitely the place to be. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll speak to you all soon. And yeah, do reach out on my email if you ever want to get in contact. But thank you all so much, and please do come back next week. And I'm sure it'll be a bit more of a new session if you want. Um, okay, bye guys. Thank you so much.